Morning, everyone. Thank you so much for making your time to come here. My name is Andres Olifas, and I am one of the people from Jumper Namibia, along with Comfort Ajibola and MZ at the back. So just a bit of a background from my side. So we're dealing with technology here, so please bear with us. So a bit of a background from my side and how we started with all of this thing. I'm gonna just run you through a short storyline on how we started and how we got to where we are. So in 2017, we attended a workshop hosted by NFC, Namibia Film Commission, where they had two video editors from Canada who came to teach us how to do visual storytelling and how to tell a story with a camera. And coincidentally, it was in the same room that we're having it. So 3 years later, we decided to have our workshop here as well. So how this started was just through experimenting with a lot of video skills and our creativity. To a point where we started doing videos in POV perspective and decided to then have this idea of doing videos with VR headsets and have people watch them with VR headsets. And as we were continuing, we kept getting a lot of people who came to us and kept asking us to get employment from them. And that's when we realized that this is actually a movement that we're trying to build. So we decided to call Jumper Namibia a freelancing platform for freelancers who would come and we subcontract them with jobs that we get awarded by corporate and non-corporate companies. And one of the things that we really engage in is things that contribute to national development. So all our projects are for national development. So we work with clients such as NFC, we work with Goethe Institute as now the corporate companies, and any other project that contributes to national development is what we focus on. So we wouldn't do a wedding video, just to say, or a music video, yes. As I explained, Jumper Namibia is a freelancing platform for creators. We engage in national development. I'm going to run you through what we do and a few projects that we worked on. Our core services are film production, corporate development, and projects and campaigns. We mostly focus on film production because that's what we want to focus on, actually. And the rest of the other two are just complementary things that we use to capitalize from, because we also have this community group where we work with people who want to start filming, and we teach them skills on how to get them started with their careers and stuff like that. Because we realize that we have a lot of interns who are graduating from schools, but media companies are not offering internship positions for them. So they're sort of stuck in a position where they need to learn the skill, but they are not getting opportunities around. And this is also one of the reasons why we host the workshops, to share what we know and hopefully get to spark the next film maker in Namibia who can go worldwide. So with the film production stuff that we have, I'm gonna go through the list of videos that we did so far. The one in the middle is a project that we did for Hermaine. She's here as well. And the first one is something that we did for NCRST, and these three were for Payment Association of Namibia. We had a video shoot with Sarah Kukongwela. Dololo Namibia is a co-working space at FNCC. So we also did a recap video for an event that they had. We also do like interview videos as part of the services that we offer. So this is just an idea of like what type of videos that we create. So I'm gonna play this video for you just to get an example of one of the projects that we did.
Sorry. Whoa, hey, don't do that. You're gonna block your card. See, the machine scanner is facing down, not up. If you put it in the wrong way, it's gonna think that you're being hijacked, and then it's gonna block it for safety reasons. Focus, I'm trying to help.
These are the type of educational videos that we want to create. And imagine now someone watching this with a VR headset. It will have them think that they are the ones in the video, the person that's watching the video now. And
Easy peasy.
we usually work with actors now who get to act in the videos that we do when we get awarded these jobs from clients. So this is just an example. I don't want to spend too much time on the video because the whole workshop is mostly about vlogging and what are the things that you need to get. This is just a picture to show the event of that video that we did. They had their launch last year in October, if I remember well. And this is where they showcased the video as well. Over here, we have someone watching the video in a VR headset. So if you would be at home, for example, you just simply go onto YouTube. And if you have a VR headset, you basically just add your phone on the VR headset and you can watch whichever video you want to. So that's how we distribute our content as well. So from the workshop, after learning all of these skills about visual storytelling and stuff like that, this is the stages that we got to. And this is why we also want to be having workshops so we can provide opportunities to people and have them get to these type of stages that we managed to get to. For the projects and campaigns, I'm going to run you through one of the biggest projects that we work on. It's called Kino Namibia Film Festival. So Kino Namibia Film Festival is basically a workshop, or not really a workshop, but a platform where filmmakers from around the country get to come to Namibia and they meet up in a room like this. And someone who has an idea to film would go in front, talk about their idea, and the rest of the audience would listen to the pitch, and whoever from the audience is interested in that idea would join this group, and they would have 48 hours to film the short film. So that's basically the challenge that they get when they join Kino Namibia. So we start off our marketing with these guys. We call them the orange guys. So these guys are usually used for our marketing content. If you look at the Facebook page for Kino Namibia, you'll find a lot of videos with these guys in it. And the nice thing we like about them is you can use them for anything. You can use them for a dancing competition. You can have them act in any way that they want to and use it to promote your event. So after we do that, we then spend the whole year promoting the event to a point where we come to August and have our film festival. So this is the first day that happens. What happens is, like I mentioned, whoever has an idea would go in front, talk about the idea, and would then, these are all guys who have ideas to pitch. So they will be explaining what their idea is about, and then the people from the audience would then join whichever group they are interested in. On the first day, come 1 o'clock, they start to film until the 48 hours are up. So on the second day, the filming just continues. You usually have people who sleep over even at the venue and have them engage with the other audiences as well. On day 3, we then have the filming, where we invite the public to come watch the videos that they created. So our job is basically to run the whole film festival. So that's where we incorporate stuff such as marketing, the videos and the photographies and the graphic designing and all these marketing content that we come up with. For corporate branding, I'm just going to show you this one advert that we did. This is the latest one that we did for Huawei. They have an independence advert that they want to publish, so they got us to design it for them. I'm not going to go too much into details. It's just to show you what type of services we provide and stuff like that. So like I mentioned, we have a Jumper community page where we work with our upcoming filmmakers or creatives who want to get into the media industry because that's the industry that we focus on. So Jumper Community is a platform for skill transfer and provides you with platforms to build your portfolio and help you grow as a freelancer. Because we noticed that there are a lot of people who want to tap into the industry, like I mentioned, but they don't really have things to show to companies where they are going to submit their CVs. So what we do is we work together, we create the content, and with that content they can get to use it to put on their CVs and say, this is the type of projects that we did and this is what I did in the project, just to help them jumpstart their career. Right, so we're gonna jump into the presentation. We're still with time. We're gonna start with explaining what vlogging is. Maybe, Comfort, you wanna just explain a few things regarding vlogging?
Okay, morning everyone. So I'm Comfort. I don't know if anyone has seen my YouTube channel. Right, thank you. So basically, vlogging is video blogging, and that's just, you know, recording your daily life, your activities, what it is that you do on a weekly basis or monthly basis, whatever it is, however you decide to post. And over time, we've seen that it has actually evolved. It has become so many things. You have YouTubers now who make it into actual skits. So they put up a whole scenario and they say, this is what we did for the week, or this is what I did for the week. So with vlogging, it's also a great way actually to market yourself, market your personality, whatever it is that you have to offer the world, your products, your services, and also it's a great way to have fun, honestly, and just put yourself out there and show the world who you are and what you are about.
The reason why we specifically had the vlogging workshop is, number one, we've been getting a lot of people who wanted us to teach them how to vlog. So we decided to rather create it or make it into a workshop where everyone can come learn what vlogging is and where they need to get started with their work. Number one would be, we're going to start off with where you need to start with your vlogging career. The first thing that we need to sort out is the equipment. The equipment is one of the most important things that you need to get for yourself, and that is basically the foundation part. By getting your equipment and knowing how they work. Over here we have two types of cameras that you can use. Number one is the DSLR camera. I kept getting that wrong until Comfort corrected me. And number two, we have a mirrorless camera. So the difference between the two is, this one is the first models that they started with when they created cameras. It's not really the first, but it's older than the mirrorless cameras. And this camera, if you observe the center, you will notice that it has two different type of shutters. So when you click on the normal digital signal lens reflex, it has a shutter that flips. So what it does is it captures the visuals, and then it shuts, and then it saves it into the camera. And now, as opposed to the mirrorless camera, it does not have that. So it makes it easy for the focus, and it also makes it easy for full frame recording. So it's always ideal to get yourself a mirrorless camera, but in order to start, you can always start with the most basic camera that you can get, and then you can get used to how to use the camera until you are advanced enough to get yourself a mirrorless camera. Because number one, the mirrorless cameras are more expensive, and number two, the DSLR cameras have I believe now they have much more quality for now, while they're still creating the affordable mirrorless cameras for yourself. So I would always start off with the DSLR camera first before I advance onto the mirrorless camera. As you can see here, we have a small vlogger's camera. I'm not sure what type of Canon this is, or whether it looks like a mirrorless camera actually. But what you can get yourself is also just a smaller version of a digital camera where you can afford it. And the reason why vloggers usually use smaller cameras is it's light to carry around, as opposed to walking around with a digital large camera like the ones that we're using now. And sorry, before I continue, we have the strategy where we're going to spend 15 minutes presenting what we're doing, what we're teaching, and we're going to have another 15 minutes for questions and answers. So if you have a question, just write it down, and then we can try to answer it within the 15 minutes. Right. Number two, another type of camera that you can use is a phone. Nowadays we have advanced cameras now, or advanced phones now. The one I usually use is an iPhone. Our shots are mostly done with an iPhone, and we haven't received any problems with using this type of phone. But you can always get yourself any phone which has proper video recording quality. It's always about knowing how or what type of functions the phone can use. And another technique that we use, or another tool that we use to record with, is this app here. It's called Filmic Pro. This presentation will be sent to you guys with possibly links to platforms that you can find these type of resources. But an app that you can use is Filmic Pro. The reason why it's a nice app to use is you can use the ISO. I'm not gonna go too much into detail with like the technicalities of the camera settings and all this, because this workshop is basically just a crash course workshop to show you what you need to get for you to start with your stuff. So like I mentioned, the nice thing about the app is you can use it to change the lighting. I don't know if you ever noticed when you record with your phone, if you record it inside, the lighting will be fine, but as soon as you step outside or face the lighting, the temperature sort of changes with the phone. So this app helps you keep the temperature at the same setting that you set it up. And that's the nice thing about using the Filmic Pro app. This over here is something that we're already using. As you can, if you notice this item here, this is called a lapel mic. I wish I could show you an example, but I'll probably add this into the presentation as I email it to you guys. But the nice thing about a lapel mic is it records close audio. So if I'm talking now, I won't hear the rest of the surrounding sound that's happening now. And the most important thing about filming is not really how you shot it. It's not how the video looks. It's how good the sound sounds like. So if you are going to record something, rather either use a lapel mic, or you can just use your phone's audio recorder. Over here, we just have a picture of how the lapel mic is set up, but you usually just edit somewhere that's close to the mouth. People usually like to use the lapel mic to do interview type of videos or presentation type of videos. But if you're, for example, having two people and one person and you only have one lapel mic, rather use the lapel mic on the focus point, the focus person that needs to be mostly recorded, and you use additional sound for the other people. Or if you're having a group of people, rather just use your phone to record everybody. Over here, just two examples of how you can use your lapel mic. You usually find audio recorders, like the one I'm using now. And the lapel mic that I'm using is called a Rode mic. The nice thing I like about the Rode mic is it has two functions, actually three now. So you can use this type of lapel mic on a voice recorder. And if you notice here, it has two different parts. So this is a converter that helps you record with the audio recorder, but you can't use the same converter with a phone. So that's why I usually just remove it and connect this type of device now to the phone, because not all lapel mics work with everything. So whenever you're buying your lapel mic, just make sure that it works with the phone, because that's probably the audio recorder you will be using the most. So make sure that you get yourself a lapel mic that records with the phone. And you can also attach your lapel mic on the camera, as you can see on this image on the left. This is what I'm talking about. This is the converter, and as you can see, it's not being used here on the phone. Here is just an illustration on how you can set up your settings. It's really just basic. You just get a Gorilla Pod. This is called a Gorilla Pod, right? Yeah. So this is called a Gorilla Pod. Basically comes like this. The nice thing about it is you can attach it anyway, but I'm going to go more into details with this later on. Another way you can record your audio is by attaching a mic onto the camera, because a camera, those type of DSLR cameras usually have a built-in mic, but let's say you don't have a lapel mic and you want to record an audio. Rather attach an external mic onto the audio so the sound can come out better than how it is on the camera, because if you look at the differences between the two, it's going to create so much noise that you won't really hear what's happening in the video, and you end up having a wasted video basically. Lighting is also another important part in video production. This is a 3-point lighting setup. This is the most standard setup that you can get yourself, or the setup that's more dynamic for you, because you get to control how the lighting works and where you want to place the lighting. The key light is usually the main light that you use, which is much more bigger than the rest of the ones. And then we have the fill light, which complements the other side. As you can see, we have the main light lighting onto the subject, and then we have the key light that's killing the shadow that the main light is creating. And then over here, this backlight is usually used to light the lines of the hairline. And this is the type of setup that you can get yourself. But usually, if you're starting out, it's always best to work with natural light and then work with the ISOs. Or you can just get yourself one light and have it placed on top of you or in front of you. These are some old type of lights that filmmakers usually used to use. These are called red lights. The nice thing about them is they have barn doors where you can direct how the light should face. So this is the function for it, but it has its pros and cons. I think one of the cons is it overheats, it heats up. So I don't know if you've ever seen how a floodlight works, but once you switch it on, this light, the light bulb here becomes heated, and you won't really want to have this on for such a long time, because eventually the light will either blow up or something will melt inside. So when you're recording, rather time how you're going to use it, how many minutes you're going to spend on the recording, and switch it off for it to cool down. So that's you can basically Google more about how to use the red lights, but These lights, I don't really use them a lot. We usually use them for interview type of things, like if you want to light a white background and make it more brighter. Like for example, if I'm doing a recording and I'm using this projector stand as my white background, I would then have my subject here, and then I would have this light here, and then maybe another one on the other side, and then have another one on top, where I would light the back and just work with the ISO. There's this lighting temperature called tungsten lighting that you work with, because when you switch on this light, it turns yellow. So in order to balance off the warmness and the coldness, you use the tungsten light option, so it can become whiter and not more yellow. Here we also have the LED light. The nice thing about the LED light is you don't have to plug it onto any power like the red lights. You can basically have a battery and use this portably. And the nice thing about them is you can change their gel colors, so you can play around with how you want your room to look like. For example, if you're gonna use pink, for example, you would then have one of the lights behind a PC, which you hide, and then would only show how the light is shining behind the PC. Here's an example of what I just explained. Over here, this person used either one of these lights and placed it somewhere around here, or they used an LED tape. This is also another item that you can use to use for decorating your setup. Like here you see how this person light their wall with a blue LED tape to give that whole dynamic look of the room. And then they would maybe just have a stand here that's lighting on them. So that's one of the ways that you can use the LED lights. And we then have this device called a ring light. A ring light is, as you can see, it's a light that's round, but the nice thing about it is this is what vloggers usually use the most. So in terms of lighting, this is how you can start with your vlogging. You can get yourself this ring light for, I think, $600 to $800 at Moromo. There's a gadget shop. I just forgot what the name is called, but I can add that to the presentation when I send it to you guys. But they're very, very affordable. So if you want to start off with the lighting, get yourself a ring light. And as you can see, it's very, very easy to use. It has 3 functions, from white to middle yellow and to bright yellow. So you can also change the brightness of how strong they are, and how some of them even have color changes. So it all depends on what type of ring light you want and what type of function you want to use it for. And the nice thing about it is you can use your phone basically to use as a camera. So you don't necessarily have to get yourself like a digital camera. You can just use the phone and have it placed in the middle and have your recording done that way. Another option is using DIY items. This light over here, was bought at an electric shop. I bought this for $200, and it's a 50-watt light. If I can switch it on now and show you how bright it is, this is how strong it is. So, sorry. So you just have to look at what type of lighting you want to get and how powerful you want your light to be. So with this type of light, I don't really use it that much because it's too bright for me. This is 50 watt, and if you want to get less light than this, then get yourself 30 watt. So it just depends on what type of brightness you want. But I would usually use this light for green screening, which I will explain later on. But just for you to get an idea on like where to start with your stuff and what type of lighting you can get. These type of bulbs are really hard to get here in Namibia. You would usually find them mostly in South Africa. So look at platforms such as OMS Direct, Camera Land, the lighting company, and any shop that sells these type of bulbs. But if you want to get a light quickly in Namibia, then just go to any electric company that sells these type of LED lights, and you can basically start with those type of lights. Stabilizers. Over here we have a fluid tripod. Fluid tripods are these type of tripods which are smooth when you turn them, compared to the normal standard tripods which are like this. It's even breaking apart. So compared to the tripod which is like this, it's not really smooth for you to pan around when you are recording something. So get yourself a fluid tripod. They are much more expensive than the standard ones, but if you want to do the type of recording where you have the camera moving from one location to another, either tilting or panning, then you would then use this type of tripod. I think this type of specific tripod would cost you about $3,000 to $5,000 if you have to buy it. But the more affordable fluid tripod is the one I have there in the corner. It's more of a, that one that MZ is holding. It's more of a standard to fluid type of tripod, but it has the fluid option. I bought that for $1,000. So I guess that's the cheapest type of fluid tripod that you can get for yourself. We also have now the standard tripods, like I showed you here. You can get yourself a tripod for the digital camera, which has its mount on it, or you can get yourself the mini tripods for the cell phones. And these type of tripods come with these type of devices. So if you want to spend, or if you want to invest in a tripod that works for both the digital camera and the cell phone, get yourself this type of stand and get yourself this device where you can just screw this onto the mount that you get with a tripod, and then you attach your phone onto it. And then you can have a tripod for both functions. Or if you're fancy, you can get both. Here we have a GorillaPod, like the one I showed you earlier. And we also have now the other tripod, it's this one here. So as you can see, these two are also other users that you can, other type of tripods that you can get for yourself, or stabilizers that you can get for yourself. The reason I like the GorillaPod is, as you can see, it folds, right? So let's say you are at a place where you can't put a tripod on a flat surface, or you're at a river, for example. You would then attach this onto a branch on a tree, and then you attach your camera onto the mount, and then you can just record freely like that. Or you can get yourself this type of device. This one is more for like action type of recordings. I don't know if you've ever seen those type of ground shaky type of videos. You would usually use this, or it's more for sporty type of shots, like parkour, when people are doing those free running and stuff like that. It's more for those type of action shots, skateboarding, bike riding, parkour, those extreme sports type of shots. And then we move on to the more advanced devices. These are called stabilizers, electric stabilizers. Before people created these type of stabilizers, they used to have the manual ones where, I just didn't bring it with, I wish I did. But it's a more old school type of device where you install it first, and then you measure the X and the Y and find the balance, and then you would use it to stabilize basically. But now, as opposed to that one, these ones use electric motors. So you don't really need to be setting it up and measuring the balance of the camera. You can just install the camera and have it centered and have the motor move the camera from left to right. Over there, like the one on the left is a stabilizer for the bigger cameras. So these ones are usually used for the mirrorless and the DSLRs. And then the one on the right is a Xeon stabilizer that looks like this. What you do with this device is you just basically switch it on. I'm gonna just demonstrate here. So what you do is you get this type of device, you add your phone here. All right, once you install it there, you would then adjust it, because as you can see now, it's more onto this side. So what you do here is just open it up, adjust it until it's leveled like that. And then the next thing that you do is switch it on. And then it automatically balances it off for you. The highest price that you can get this for is like $4,000. I bought this one for $3,000, but I bought this one in Denmark. You won't really find a lot of these in Namibia. It's mostly just South Africa and stuff like that. But the most affordable one that you can get is up to $1,000. So just check which ones are cheap enough for you to afford. I'm gonna pass this around just for you to get guys to have an idea on how it operates. So Hermine, you just pass it on as I go. So it's a really cool device to have if you're gonna do those walking around type of vlogging. Right. Over here, I'm gonna show you a video that we did using that device, and just for you to have an idea of how smooth the movement works. Sorry about the sound. Do we have sound here? Oh, okay. Yeah, but it's not really talking anyway, so. Right. So yeah, like that's an example of how well this device works. And if you look at this part here, when we can I exit? No, I can't. So as the camera is moving from here, this is one person having it. And then as it stops, we passed on the camera to the next person. So you don't even notice how it's shaking. So that's the beauty about using a device like that. It's so smooth. It's very nice to use. You can use it for so many different type of shots.
Okay, so I've got 3 questions, but I think it's quick to answer. The first one is, that Filming Pro app, is it free?
It's not free.
Okay.
It's quite expensive.
How much is it
Like 300 to 400 Namibian dollars.
per month?
No, once off.
Once off.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to write that.
Right.
And then, that ring light, which shop in Marua Mall is it in?
You know where the kids play, with the whole playground type of thing, where Virgin Active used to be.
Yes.
So across Virgin Active, there's that coffee shop, right?
Yeah.
So on the right side, like, I don't know if it's on the left side of the ATMs or on the right side of the ATMs.
Mo's Gadgets.
Yes, that's
Okay.
the one. Most Gadgets.
Okay.
So have a look at that shop. Otherwise, if you don't find it there, just go to any Indian shop. I'm sure they'll have it.
Okay.
I'm definitely sure they'll have it.
And then the last one is, what is the name of that stabilizer?
This one is called a Zion Crane 4. Yeah, so if you want to get a device like this, check South Africa. Because if you want to look for it here, you'll probably just get it secondhand. There are no shops selling camera equipment. I don't know why, but
You can check online.
yeah.
Because we were looking at Takealot, and they've got quite good prices.
Takealot. I've never, I struggle so much with Takealot because I'm trying to figure out their system of how they work. Because you can't even contact them and say, hey, I want this, can you give me a package? Because number one, you need the dimensions of the box for the courier company to get the device from the shop. So look at shops such as Orms Direct and Camera Land. Those ones are more engaging with audiences and stuff like that. But if you have another way to get it from Takealot, maybe a friend that stays in South Africa, they can buy it for you and then you get it from them. Yeah. But that's always a challenge when you get something outside Namibia. You have to work with couriering as well. Is there anyone with another question before we move on? Like regarding the stuff that we presented so far? Yes?
I just wanted to
Sorry.
Okay, so I just wanted to find out, right? Because there's a lot of equipment that you showed us.
Yes.
So, what is the first thing you'd suggest, except for the phone now? What is the first thing you suggest I get if I want to start now?
Get yourself a camera, like the digital camera.
Okay, apart from the camera.
Oh, apart from the camera?
Because, like, if I want to use my phone in the beginning,
Yeah.
what is the best thing for me to get now?
Then you would then get yourself an audio recorder, either a lapel mic, or just get yourself another audio recorder for the external audio, and maybe lighting with the ring light. Get that. I think you should also just focus on your branding then.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what you're like. It's gonna like if you want to start out like that. Then you're going to need to go now deep into the details of creating your business model, what you're doing, why you're doing it, who you're doing it for, what is your target audience, what is your unique selling point for you to sort of have your audience market. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So focus on that. Focus on the business model side before you,
Even
if
go
you don't want to focus on the technical side, focus on the theory side of your business or whatever you're doing.
Okay.
Like the branding, CI, business model, brand statement, business model canvas. It goes deep, like, yeah. But yeah, that's a way you can start.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, about the light,
Yep.
the other big light that you just showed us with that.
This one, yeah.
Right, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Is there no filter to filter the light?
That's actually a good question. I actually never tried that, but maybe if I was going to try that, I would use a reflector. You know the diffuser? Yeah, so I would use that to cover the thing. Or I'm sure a white cloth would work as well. Like if you look at this picture, come on, can you see how this guy did it?
Yeah.
You see that? So he just covered his light with a cloth. So you can use a reflector or you can use a cloth to diffuse the light.
Something white or yeah.
Yeah, something white.
Great.
Right. Is there one more question before we continue? Okay. So, right, so with this workshop, we're actually just having a pilot run. This is the first time having an event like this to actually teach what we know. So we're just using this as a pilot run to look at what are the things that we need to fix in the future ones and how we need to do it next time. Another additional equipment that you can start off with is the phone. Comfort explains that the phone is basically the first computer that you have. Usually people would procrastinate on starting with their career because they feel that they don't have like the proper equipment to use, but basically you can start anywhere and then just build up from there. A phone is the best device that you have to start off with, because with the phone you can download apps, video editing apps that you can use to edit on the phone, and you have a camera and you can do your admin work on the phone. So you don't really necessarily have to have a laptop to start off with. But a laptop is also another device that you can get yourself. If you're gonna get yourself a laptop, or if you have a laptop already, consider the RAM. A good laptop or good RAM to have is RAM that's at least up to 8 gig. Minimum 6 gig RAM. And then with a good graphics card. Usually laptops all have good graphic cards now. But if you're gonna buy a laptop, look at the processor. If you see your laptop, it's usually written i3, i5, i7. So those are processors. The best or the most affordable that you can get is an i3. I'm just not sure how it will work depending on what type of programs you will get, but a good one to start off with is i5. So you can check out any laptop, just make sure that the RAM is on point and then the processor is also on point. And then with your memory, you just have to make sure that you have enough space. What we usually do with our work is we have hard drives that we work with. Yeah. So we have hard drives where we capture the videos in here and either have the working file in the hard drive that's in the laptop or have another hard drive that you can use for your external work. Because with recording, you're recording long hours, so meaning the gigs will be a lot. So over time, it's gonna fill up your hard drive. So you rather have the hard drive that's in the laptop be used for performance rather than storing items. So that's one of the best ways to have your workflow proper.
It also makes it easier to edit if all your footage is on the hard drive, then you edit on the computer, because having all of that in your computer can sometimes slow it down. That's why you need to have a good RAM, the processor, and memory, so that you don't get stuck. Your program will just like freeze in the whole computer.
Yeah, and you don't really want to have deadlines. For example, if you're doing a job for a client, you don't want to have a freezing computer while you have to deliver this job today. That's going to be a lot of stress. Over here we have Viva Video. This is a video editing app that you can use for your phone. I'm just not sure if it's a free app. Is it a free app? Okay, so this is a free app that you can download. So opposed to Filmic Pro, you can start off with this one if you're not comfortable spending all that money. So start off with Viva Video, and once you understand what ISO is, what shutter speeds are, then you can move to the Filmic Pro. Final Cut. All right. Another software that you can use is iMovie. This is a built-in software for Mac. So if you're getting yourself a Mac laptop, you can just go to iStore and download iMovie if it's already not on your laptop. So that's one of the softwares that you can use. And your phone as well, yeah. Over here we have Premiere Pro. So Premiere Pro is the software that we use the most. We like to go with Premiere Pro because it's an Adobe software. And with Adobe, you have Photoshop, Illustrator, and all these other ones. So they all interlink with each other. They work together. So for example, if I'm doing a video in Premiere Pro and I have a file that I worked on Photoshop, I can easily go to Photoshop, work on it there, save it, and it will update on Premiere Pro instead of saving it and going to drop it on Premiere Pro again, which is a long process. Well, that's just one of the reasons why we use Premiere Pro, but it's really up to you to decide which one you want to start off with. Another program that people use a lot is Final Cut Pro. To be honest, I haven't used this yet because I'm already satisfied with Premiere Pro, but this is also another good device that you can use. I think one of the good things about it is the exporting. The exporting is quite fast with Final Cut Pro as opposed to Premiere Pro. But yeah, you can just do more research on it and see which one you want to work with. And yeah, our suggestion is just pick one and learn as much as you can about it. And a good way to educate yourself is by looking at YouTube tutorials where you get the most education, because that's basically how we educate ourselves, and we get to learn on online platforms like that and contextualize it to the Namibian market. Right. When we talk about camera setups, we basically mean where you can place your cameras when you're doing your recording. If you're recording one person, for example, you necessarily just need one camera. If you want to have a more dynamic look and feel to your vlogging video, you can use more than one camera. But a nice setup to start off with is just one camera, where you have it in front of you, as you can see here, and just frame it properly to a point that you want it to show. And you can have your setup like this. Or another setup that you can have is the 2 people setup, or 2 or more people. This is a bird's eye view of a 3-camera setup. So this is a 3-camera setup interviewing 2 people, or an interviewer asking the subject questions. Camera A would be focused on the subject. Camera B would be focused on the interviewer. And then camera C would be focused on both of them. So that's another setup that you can have if you're going to do like interview type of vlogging videos. As you can see now, currently we just have a 2-camera setup. That one at the back is recording the whole room, and then this one over here is recording me. So if we had a 3-camera setup and I was with 2 people, for example, and I'm interviewing them, that camera would have been focused on this person that's here, and then another camera, that one, for example, would be focused on me, and then that one for both of us. So that's just an understanding on how you can set up your cameras, either using one camera or having 2 or 3 camera setups. But the most you can use is basically 3. You don't really need 4 camera setups, unless it's like more than one person that's being interviewed and you want to really focus like each shot on each person. Framing and compositions. Framing and compositions are, how would I explain framing and compositions? So it's the type of frame. Okay, it's basically framing. Eh? It's how you frame your subject. For example, you have these 6 shots. These are like the standard type of shots that you find in filmmaking. We have the extreme wide shot. Extreme wide shot is basically used for establishments. So establishments are those type of shots where, I don't know if you've ever seen where a TV show where someone is talking, but before they talk, let's imagine generations. Let's say it's Karabo and Archie that are talking, right? Let's imagine it's Karabo and Archie. So before they start with their conversation, you would have the establishment shot, which shows where they are. So establishment shots are usually just to show where the people are or where we are when we're watching a video. So you would show the house, right? And then you jump into the subjects. Like even if you watch like those Bill Cosby type of TV shows, they usually show the house first and then they would show the people talking. So that's an establishment shot. And then a wide shot is recording the whole body of a person. Or let's say, for example, you have more than one person in a shot. You then use a wide shot to capture everybody. But wide shots are usually also just used for example, those type of action type of shots where people are moving in slow motion and they're walking towards the camera and you see that whole scene of how they're moving in slow motion. So that's a type of wide shot that you can use. A medium shots are usually used for interviews now. Like if you look at like news interviews or just normal interviews, you usually have them like this, these two type of shots. So a medium shot would just be cut from here, right? So if you're gonna do your setup and you have the person sitting, you would then have the shot in this type of way for more, what do we call it, aesthetics? I guess so, yeah. Close-ups. Close-ups are used for evoking an emotion. For example, if two people are about to make out, you would have the close-ups of how they are feeling, right? Because now you wanna like the thing about filming is filming is made to evoke emotions. So a close-up is a great way to do a dramatic type of shot where you either have the person showing themselves happy or sad. So you would use a close-up for that type of shots because you're more intimate. A good thing that I learned was this, can you just assist me here? A good thing I learned was personal space. So if you stretch out your hand, like more like this, so this barrier is our comfort zone. Comfort. So, so this is the comfort zone, right? And then as soon as this crosses, you break the comfort zone. You're more personal. You're more in a personal area. So even like right now, as I'm getting closer, you sort of feel this energy of closeness. So that's just a theory that I learned in terms of evoking emotions and using close-ups and stuff like that. Extreme close-ups, it works the same. If you want to show like a person's emotion, you can, and they're angry, it wouldn't really evoke much of an emotion when you shoot it in a wide shot as opposed to an extreme close-up because you get to see their face. You get to see how angry or how happy the person is. So extreme close-ups are usually used for that. Or you can use an extreme close-up for additional shots, like for example, if I'm doing a scene where I am talking on the phone and or I'm hanging out and I receive a message and I take out my phone, the camera would then show the screen of the phone to show what I'm reading. So that's what you can use an extreme close-up for. Or even just like if I want to add a scene where I'm picking something up, I would then have a mid shot or a wide shot of me standing, and then as soon as I look at the bottle and try to pick it up, I would have a close-up with the hand picking it up and then would move back to the mid shot. So it doesn't really matter how you align it. Establishment shot doesn't really need to be first. You can always edit wherever you want to. And you don't really need to have them following each other like that. You can the nice thing about filming is you use your creativity. There are no rules. You just need to know the theory or the techniques of how to use the type of shots. Rule of third. Rule of third is, I don't know if you've ever seen these type of lines on cameras. So if you look at a camera, you usually find horizontal and vertical lines. Apparently, when a viewer spots an image or watches a video, these are the points that they first touch when they look at the image. So when you frame your image, so this is a mid shot. This is a mid shot, right? So this is a mid shot, and the viewer, you would then want to have the eyes, because the first thing that a viewer sees is, or the first thing that catches a person's attention is the eyes. So always have the rule of third pointing where the eyes are. So even if you're doing like an interview type of videos, you always want to have it in this line or this type of line. And whatever you want your viewer to look at, you then have it either on the rule of third. So this point, this point, this point, or that point. So if I wanted to have this tree here, I would have had it like here, and then have the sky more, like this top part, I would have had it here, and then this tree would have been here. Another thing to look at is the golden spiral. So the golden spiral it's that curve. Let's see where it starts from here. So this golden spiral would basically turn like this. I don't want to explain what a golden spiral is. You can Google that because I don't want to lie to you guys, but it's an amazing theory to look at when you're looking at images and stuff like that. So it's a golden spiral. It's basically, if I can explain it in my way, it's the calculation that is used for everything, basically. Like, I don't know how to explain it for real, guys, but yeah, Google golden spiral or the Fibonacci spiral, and you will have an understanding on what it is and how you can use it and stuff like that. But it's used for everything, like literally everything. Art, maths, photography, videos, you can use it for anything. So this over here is like one of the most important things you need to know when you're doing a video recording. So if you're going to record two people talking, like an interview type of thing, you need to consider the 180-degree rule. So 180-degree rule is this line that you shouldn't break. So this is a 360, and then this half is the 180. What you do is never to cross the 180-degree rule once you have your setup on one side. So this is camera A. Sorry. So camera A will be here, focusing on this person, right? So as you can see here, and it's over the guy. And then camera B would be focused on this person, which is like that. And then camera C, focus on both people. So always consider that when you're recording. Never cross the 180-degree rule when you're doing your recordings. But it's just a nice way to understand how to do interview type of shots. And then this is what I was explaining with this type of shot here. Like, can you see this? So this is called over the shoulder shot. So if you're gonna record something like that, have the camera show the next person's shoulder to show that this person is talking to that person. And then the same way on the opposite sides as well. A script, to explain what a script is basically the information that someone writes for you. It's basically the blueprint, right? You know, when you're building a house, you first start with a blueprint, and everybody knows the blueprint. The builders would know, the architects would know, and everybody else involved in building the house would know. So that's how you should look at the script. The easiest way to do a script is starting off with a scripter. A scripter is someone who just writes keywords of the storyline. Like, for example, come to KCAC, we meet here, we teach you things, and we go home. So that's just like additional scripts. And then you would then give it to the script writer who would write it in detail. Like, we came to KCAC at 5 o'clock, for example, and then I came here and spoke to these guys, and then I said this and this and that. So a script is everything in detail now. Like, everything you're going to say, every shot or every action you're gonna do, even if you have to turn left and right, you have to indicate that. So everyone involved in the film production would know what to do when this type of thing happens. Like, for example, a video editor or a camera person would know, okay, this person is going to turn left to right, so how am I going to adjust my camera to make the script work as the way it's written? And the video editor would know, okay, the person is turning from left to right, so let me, and there are two type of recordings. There's a mid shot that's shot here, and there's another camera that shot them when they're turning this way. So the video editor will then use or play around with the two camera angles on how they can put them together. So that's the importance of having a script. And then, Kamla, do you want to explain the key points?
So with what I've seen that most YouTubers do with scripting, when in terms of their videos, is they basically have, different people do it different ways, but some of them will have it written down what they want to say in the video, because once you start talking, sometimes you get carried away, you want to talk about other things and you forget your point. And instead of forgetting your point and going off on that trail, you have these points written down that you want to say. And also a lot of them also use storytelling in their videos. So say, for example, it's a story time video, and I'm telling you a story about how I went to the mall or something. So they will have like cutaway, they have it in their scripts that, okay, I'm going to have cutaway shots of me walking around in the mall, interacting with people, and actually acting out the story that I'm telling, instead of just sitting there and telling the story. So it's really important to have a script, because it keeps you consistent, it keeps you guided, it keeps you on track of what you want to say, so that you're able to achieve what you set to achieve at the end of the video.
Awesome. I wish I could explain it like that. But, all right, we'll move on now to the next slide. This is an example of the storyboard. So this is both a script and a storyboard put together. So that's like the coolest way to do it. Instead of like having a script and then still go do the storyboard, rather put them together. A good thing that we learned was to grab an A4 paper. Grab an A4 paper like this, and you just start sketching out your script and storyboard. Like, you don't need to be like Picasso when you do this. Like, just sketch out stock mannequins and have an idea of how you want your script to be done. A storyboard is, like it explains here, it's a visual representation of the script. So the script would be written, and the storyboard is how you're going to do the shots. So storyboarding also goes into a lot of detail. I guess we should also have a workshop for that. But a nice thing to add to your storyboard is obviously the sketches, like how you envision the idea to come about. And a thing that we learned was to include the action, what the script is saying, and over here you can always use this space to indicate how the camera movements are going to work. Like, for example, this guy would be coming from the side. I would then have either the camera standing, right? Or I would have the camera moving back as the car is coming as well. So I would then have an arrow pointing down to show that the camera is supposed to move back as it's moving like that. Or if I'm if the car is moving this side, I would then add an arrow like that, a red arrow, for example, just as a keyword. You can always keyword it as in the way that you want, but this arrow would then indicate the camera has to move with the car as it's moving. So just an easy way to do it. Over here, these are just screenshots of this, what I sketched out. Right, so these are a sketch from a previous training that we gave. We sketched it out. I was teaching them about how to do the storyboarding. So what we do is put it into practice where we sketch it out. It's first the establishment shot, and then the car would be coming, and then it would turn and have people hanging out there as well as it reaches its location. Over here, the guy then comes out of the car, shows the guy's foot. He then walks to a view. He drinks his water. And then he throws it away, right? And the guys that he finds there look at what he's doing, and then they would get angry. And as he's walking to his car, one of the guys grab him. So every type of shot is there. And then the video would then rewind and have the same scenario of him approaching the place, drinking the water, throwing the bottle away, and then double guessing, and picks up the bottle and walks off with the bottle. So that is the storyboard that we sketched out. Now, this is now the video. So because of a storyboard, we got to shoot it in a few hours, as opposed to going there and freestyling things and spending 3 days recording it. So that's the beauty about scripting something and storyboarding. So yeah, I hope you understand like the importance of having a script and a storyboard, because you can use it for so many things. I want to see where we are now. All right. So before we move into filing systems, is there a question? All right.
So I'm not trying to produce any big production. So if I'm just trying to do like a vlog for myself and my own, like, you know, whatever, how do you have a script but not break away from it to look at it and still be authentic and kind of connect, I guess, with, yeah, so it's almost like, but also like, I don't want to not have it because I chase rabbits, so I'll probably go off. So how do you do both without it looking like you're looking at a script and you're following something, but still stay authentic and connect? I don't know.
Okay,
Come
so it's something that I also experience. So what I usually do is I would write keywords and then I would freestyle from the keywords. Like for example, water, shoes, car. So I would have those keywords there and then I would be like, hi guys, today I was sitting at home, then I grabbed myself a bottle of water, I drank it, and then I went to go get my shoes, I put them on, and then I went to my car and drove off. So that's how I would use it to remember my script. So especially with now the vlogging, you don't really have to go too much into detail into scripting. It's not like a corporate production. So try that technique, because it really helps me a lot.
Okay.
And then you just like freestyle all the way.
Also, another thing that people also do is if you have points, so you have 5 things, maybe it's a video where you want to teach 5 ways to boost your personal confidence or whatever. So you mention each one, and then when you're editing, then you remove the little parts where you were looking at the paper or trying to remember things. So then you can just record a long video, and then you just edit it and make sure that we don't see the little parts where where you were thinking, trying to do that.
Awesome. Is there another question? Ms. Ovi?
I was thinking or wondering why there's no why question. Why are you doing it?
There's no what?
You only have when, what is happening,
Oh.
how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can, it's not like it's not a rule. You can add what you want and you can remove what you want. We just didn't edit because we didn't edit. Yeah, but you can always edit and then have your reason why you are doing something. Like a why would usually be used if you are trying to get an audience to understand something or you're trying to communicate a message. But like usually it's like a vlogging video would be like advertising something or talking about something, like generic stuff. Unless it's like you are for a cause, where you only do vloggings for this type of cause, that's when you can add the why. But the why can be incorporated in anything actually. Even if you're doing like the generic stuff, why are you doing the video for today? Why did you decide to come do it here and not in your studio? So the why is basically just a foundation part to add to other whys, if you get what I mean. But yeah. All right. Filing systems. This is the filing system that we work with. Just for you to get an idea on how to put your folders. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 folders. The first folder is usually where the working file is, like where the program is, where you're editing your work and stuff like that. Number 2, the second folder would be links, where you add now your audio. So you would have this main folder, and then you would have now a folder for your audios that you recorded. Like this type of audio would be in this file. We have the file for the pictures, like in case you've taken any pictures. We have the files for cutaways, and we have the files for B-rolls. We'll explain what cutaways and B-rolls are in a few minutes. And we have now, in case you have animations, you can have your file for animations as well. And then the third folder would be the copy. Like if you did a script or there's any folder or document that's copy related, you would then have it in this folder. And if you have logos to add to your videos, like you are sponsored by someone or you're collaborating with someone, you would then have your logos there. Instead of having like all of the things in one file, which makes it unorganized, number one, and difficult for you to find specific things. So rather have them organized in this way and know where everything is. But it's not a rule. This is just like our system, but you can always create it in the way that you want. Like if you see that there's something that you do, but is not in any of these folders, you can always edit. Or you can always remove it, like animations. I'm sure not everyone would be doing animations in their things, so you can also always do without it. So it's up to you. You can customize it in the way you want, but this is like a standard system that people create. Now we are moving on to green screen. We're actually moving faster than I thought we
We're not complaining.
Right, so 11:45. Okay, green screens. So over here it says the main purpose for using a green screen is the special effects. Like if you look at like the news, for example, and someone is presenting the weather and stuff like that, you always see those type of animations. So what they do is, if you're not familiar with the green screen, they usually use this type of cloth. The cloth that we have is basically like this. It's basically just a green cloth that we get. So this type of cloth you can get in Chinatown. Like you just buy a fabric. So this is 1 meter. 1 meter is like $40 per meter. So depending on how big you want your green screen, you can always buy the cloth. But like we're fine with this one. We didn't have a production that requires us to use a bigger size than this. But yeah, you can get yourself a 1 meter or a 2 meter to be safe. And the way we use green screens and the way we light them is, like if you can see here, we use now a 3 lighting setup. Like this one here, the one I showed you earlier is this one that records the main light. So I would always have it on top. And if you look at this area here, you'll see a little bit of shadow from the subject. So what you do to kill the shadow, because you don't really want to have the shadow there when you're going to remove the green screen. So always have your lighting set up in a way that the shadow would not show on the green screen. So a good way to do that is have the light on top that lights the subject, and have the shadow be more on the ground as opposed to being on the wall. So that's something that you need to look at when you're going to use a green screen. Here we have a bird's eye view of a 3 lighting setup. Like here, again, it's 2 lights lighting on both sides. And then we have another light that's lighting on the subject. I think this person used a 4 light setup to kill the shadow, but I usually have mine like next to the camera and have it face the subject and have the shadow on the floor. So you can either have it like this as a 4 lighting setup or a 3 lighting setup, whichever way you wanna have it. So it's pretty cool to have a green screen. Green screens, like I mentioned, I usually use for like the news when someone is presenting the weather or anything that you want to add animations in. Like, I don't know if you've seen Colors. It's almost like Tiny Desk, but like it's more of like people performing, but they usually shoot them in a green screen studio and then they change the background. So it's an amazing tool to use if you can use it properly or creatively. Like we would use a green screen for Kino Namibia, for example, and brand it with our colors. So if you're gonna brand your vlogging page and you wanna have like the green screen there, rather have it for introductions, for example, where you have the background moving and you introducing what you are going to talk about today, and then you go into another setup like a sitting room, for example. And yeah, but it depends on how creative you wanna have it. Hello, yeah, welcome. So B-rolls and cutaways. Do you wanna touch on that?
All right, so a cutaway or a B-roll, they are different, but they kind of serve the same purpose. So a cutaway is basically where, like I said, you're telling a story and then suddenly we cut to a different shot where we see you now acting or going through what it is that you said you were, like the story, you're basically showing us what the story is, or you're acting it out. And you can use cutaways for different things. You find YouTubers, like, they use it to show their emotion when they suddenly, they're telling you a story and then somebody has a facial reaction and then they cut to that person, maybe to the group, they're talking about something and somebody made a funny face, so they will quickly cut to that person and just, zoom in on that face that they were making. I've also seen videos where they would be talking about, oh, the other day I was sleeping, and then they cut to a shot where the person is sleeping. So you can use it just to enhance your video, to make it more interesting, so that we're not just sitting there watching you talk the whole time. If that's your style, it's also good, cool, like, it's up to you. But it also just adds a little bit of personality to your video. And then the B-roll is usually used when you're trying to, where somebody is talking about a product. So you have those videos where they're talking about the latest phone, and they'll say, oh, this phone has this type of camera, and then the phone will be sitting there, and then the camera will be moving around the phone, talking about the phone and the features, like, oh, it has this button, it has this and that, and they're just basically talking about the product, and they're showing you these different features about the product. You can also see it in videos where companies are trying to, like, market their laptops, their cameras, or whatever it is. It's usually for the product, and they're just showing different features. And also, like, a B-roll can also be like a slow motion shot as well, where you're just showing the person walking from one spot to the next, or just showing, like, something in detail, basically. You're just focusing on that particular product or whatever character that you're focusing in that moment. So that's the difference between cutaways and B-rolls. And you can really use it however you please. It's up to you to just give your video a little bit of je ne sais quoi.
All right, so yeah, if you watch the news and you have, like, someone presenting, for example, you always see them, like, having shots of, like, where the place is and what they're doing and stuff like that. So those are cutaways, basically. This is our YouTube channel. You can check it out. It's called Jumper Namibia. But just to explain a little bit on how we branded our YouTube channel. So luckily, for our side, we are experienced in marketing and brand development as well. So we sort of have an idea on how to brand our social media platforms and stuff like that. So over here, you would usually have, like, the YouTube cover. Here we have our logo on the profile as well. So these are the only two places that you actually get to brand your thing on YouTube. But there are specific sizes now that you need to look at when you're designing your thing. A great platform to do that are these ones here. So number one would be Photoshop. Photoshop is one of the programs you can use, especially if you want to have a part where you have a person cropped out, for example, and then you have your brand name here. For example, if you're an individual, you would then have your picture here cropped out, and you have the name here. But you always have to be careful to always have it centered. YouTube usually has, what do they call them? It's not really dimensions, like spaces where it shows how it looks like on the laptop and on the phone. Template. Yeah, like template sizes, because the same, like, you wouldn't want to have your picture here because it won't show on the phone. So always have it close to the center, so you will be able to view it with the phone as well. And then with the profile picture, it's just the normal way. You just add your picture or your logo here. But your information, the most information that you want the person to see has to be here. But again, it's not a rule that it shouldn't be here, but for phone, it only cuts, like, this area. because the phone is more, what is it, horizontal, vertical? Horizontal, yeah. It's more portrait-like. And another program that you can use is Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator. Illustrator is usually used for designing logos because it's a vector-based software. And Photoshop is more for photography because it's more for pixels and pictures. But you can use both of the two, but you can't really design a logo with with Photoshop, only with Illustrator. Another great platform is Canva. I'm not sure if if any of you are familiar with Canva, but Canva is a platform which already has templates for you to work with. So instead of going to Google, what's the size of a YouTube cover, just go to Canva and use that template, and then you just replace it with your content. And the nice thing about Canva is it has so many templates that you can just replace the word and add your words. Because you already get like the design there, but all you need to do is change the colors and change the images that you want to work with. I wish I downloaded the page. Yeah, like Canva said, it's a very user-friendly platform. You can use it for so many things. They are Facebook cover templates, they are YouTube templates. You can even design your CV there. You can do so much with the platform. So search for Canva and see how it works. But the only disadvantage of Canva is you can't use it with the phone. You can only use it on the PC. I'm sure in the future they'll create an app or something, but I'm sure they do have an app. But you can't use it as effectively as with a computer, yeah. Adobe Spark, Canva will explain that.
It's practically the same as Canva. You can do designs and everything with it. It's just Adobe's way of giving us Canva that we want you to be able to use that.
Is it free?
Yeah, it's free as well.
Yeah.
So you can literally design anything with it, with pictures. You can create logos and any type of art form that you want. Yeah.
And then PhotoGrid.
And PhotoGrid is on the phone. I found it when I was actually with iPhone. It's also, you can use it to, especially when you're creating videos and you want a thumbnail, for example. So you can use that as well. So you can just have your pictures and some words. It's not as advanced as Canva or the rest, but you can at least use it. It's on your phone, so it's accessible to you. And it's free as well. And they keep upgrading it and adding new things. So hopefully you get from that.
Right. And so these are a few tools out there that you can use to brand your YouTube channel. We focused on YouTube because that's where vloggers usually publish their work. But if you're having a website, for example, and you're not really familiar with the programs on how to use Photoshop, for example, or Illustrator, you're going to look for a graphic designer who can do it for you. Otherwise, Canva is there for you. It's the most user-friendly software you can get apart from all of these ones. And then the other thing is Photoshop and Illustrator is only for PC as well. Adobe Spark, I'm not sure if they have a phone version for that. PhotoGrid, I'm sure they do. Yeah. So yeah, look into that. Either teach yourself or get someone to do it for you. YouTube is there for you. There are tutorials where you can work on. And we will now discuss how you can actually make money from what you guys are doing. One of the techniques that we use in terms of the stuff that we do and content that we create is usually create production, and then we get paid for recording the production. But in terms of a vlogger, like if you are a vlogger and you are looking for ways to capitalize from what you're doing, you can always look at one of these, right? vloggers would usually talk about products before their video starts. Like, hey guys, have you guys tried out the Vuma bottle? It's really nice, da 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 da. Or this event was sponsored by Vuma. Get yourself a Vuma for $18 at Pick and Pay, for example. And then you start off with your thing. Same applies now to the clothing, accessories, and events promotions. So it's all about how you want to contextualize it. You can either have it like that, or you can have product placements. For example, over here, if this was, for example, a technique to market, you would then get a client and say, hey, we are doing this vlog about gymming, and we see that you sell this product. Let's have your product in our vlog video for people to see it, to see us using it, and then you pay us this amount. So that's product placements. Like usually product placements would be like in stuff such as movies. Like if two people are having a conversation, for example, and one is drinking a coffee and it's written Mug and Bean, that's Mug and Bean paid for that. Like same applies to any other product placement that you see on videos. So that's just a marketing technique on how you can capitalize. You can capitalize by YouTube, like with YouTube ads, like talking about products or clothes, accessories, or event promotions, or whichever thing that you want to make money out of. And the career options that you can go with is, number one, a content creator. You can become a content creator by creating content for people. Because now that you know the ins and outs of how to do or how to put a video together or have an idea, you can then work towards being a content creator by creating content for other people. So instead of just doing your work, you can do work for other people as well. And you can become a brand specialist. So the nice thing about being a brand specialist is all you have to do is just like teach yourself. And there's a book that I'm reading that I read called Poverty Proof. And it talks about how you should educate yourself and how the Jews got to where they are. And it's not because they worked hard, it's because they just knew a lot. So just educate yourself about branding. Like know about branding, know what the CI manual is so you can be a consultant to people. You can be a consultant to upcoming vlogging people as well and tell them the ins and outs of what they need to know to get their career started. So that's another way you can capitalize. You can become an influencer. Influencer, I'm sure like we all know what an influencer is, where, for example, if Burna Boy is coming to Windhoek, right? You can now be the guy that's promoting Burna Boy onto your channel because you have the audience. So it's all about like generating a followership, generating an audience, and showing the stats to corporate companies. Because one thing I learned about corporate companies is they don't really care about what you're doing. They don't care about your story. They care about numbers. So if you can show stats with whatever you're doing, you have a great chance to getting opportunities to get to work for corporate clients. Because now if I'm a corporate company and I see that this person has 2 million followers, I don't care about anything else. I care about how many people are watching this or how many people will see my product being on your platform. So numbers really matter. So stats and all that. And many more. Like be creative. There's so many ways you can make money, guys. It's amazing. That's why like we from Jumper, we see the many opportunities, but we understand that we can't do everything. We need to narrow it down and just focus on the most important things, which is stuff that contribute to national development. But yeah, man, there are a lot of ways you can make money, guys. You can, like, one of the techniques that we do to capitalize, for example, is using this concept, like what I showed you guys at the beginning of the videos, where the person is watching something in a POV perspective and stuff like that. So you can, like, what we can do is basically like create a video for this water, right? We will produce it, have someone talking, like for example, Comfort would have the camera like this, and then Comfort will be talking to the camera and talking about the water bottle, and then we would then convert it to have it being watched in VR headsets, and we would have a stand at Vernil Park and just call people to watch the video. We don't explain anything. We just say, hey, do you want to watch a video? And then when they watch the video, they get informed that way. And on our side, we just count how many people watch this video and provide the stats to the client. So that's like direct marketing, basically. So yeah, that's another creative way that you can use to capitalize. So use your creativity. You're not limited to anything. If you know how to use the stuff and know what they are used for, you can be innovative in seeing how you can make money out of it. Kamala, do you want to add anything else that you think they...
I think also with career options, if you pick one aspect of everything that's going on and you zone in on that and you become a specialist in that, that's also value that you can add, because a lot of the times we want to be, for example, you want to be a YouTuber, and there's video creation, there's editing, there's sound, there's lighting, but we have basic ideas of everything. But if you pick one and you say, okay, I'm going to be the light specialist for YouTubers, because I see that not a lot of people are good at their lighting when it comes to YouTube videos, that is your value to add to people, and people will come to you for that, and they will pay you to learn and for you to give them that special thing that you have. So it's really just about, like you said, don't limit yourself and just use your creativity and put yourself, whatever it is that you have that interest in, just go all in for that.
Yeah, and yeah, one thing that we also realize is people want to know. We're moving into a skill-based world. It's no more like only academics now. People are more focused on skills and how to use the technologies that are being brought about. We are moving into a world where we're going to have to work with AI, augmented reality, virtual reality, and computer science, basically. So tap into those type of industries and see how you can provide a service to people who want to know. You can basically do, like, for example, pick a topic and teach people how to either use it on your YouTube channel to generate more people watching your videos. Because one thing we learn about branding is people don't care about your story, they don't care about what you have to offer, they care about a solution you can solve for them. So pick a thing that people would want to know. So even if it's makeup, do a makeup tutorial, teach people how to do makeup. If it's clothing, teach people where to find the cheapest clothing, for example. And that's how you can generate an audience to come to your page. And another technique that, let me just see where we are. Okay, so before because now I was about to go deep into branding now. Let's finish all this first. What possible investors are looking at. This is what we've observed. So people like consistency. So for example, a perfect example that I always give is Dog and Gaza. Look where Dog and Gaza came from, and look where they are now. And it's just because of consistency. If they'd given up like 5-10 years back, they wouldn't have been where they are now. So consistency is really important with what you're doing. Overall presentation, your presentation always has to be good, because that's when they get to see its legitimacy. Because now if I have to scroll on Facebook and I see a poster that's done with Microsoft Word, those funny looking posters, I don't really pay much attention to it. But if a presentation is nice, it looks appealing, it's nicely presented, then I would be more interested in learning more about it. Attention to detail. I think this is something that I still struggle with, especially with spelling. Always pay attention to your details, like how the spelling is done, how the grammar is done, and all this stuff. And reliability, honesty, integrity. Just be 100, be legit. Find ways to stand out from the rest of the people. And when when you create your content, don't try and pretend or try to be someone that you are not. Just be yourself, because people see someone who's not legit. You know, like people see someone who's pretending. So just be yourself. What to consider? Like I explained earlier, your writing skills. If you're not a good writer like me, I'm definitely bad. Just get a copywriter, get someone to do it for you. You can't do everything alone. You really need a whole team. So spelling is also important. Your grammar, and especially the design. Design falls under presentation. If you can't design something, there are platforms like Canva. There are people who can help you out, depending on how much budget you have. So I don't know. Is there anything else that's missing? Previous one.
So just to add on what you said, consistency with specifically for YouTube is if you say, guys, my videos are coming out every Wednesday, it has to come out every Wednesday. It has to come out on the day that if it's once a week, we know it's once a week. Because also another thing that YouTube does is if you're consistent, they help you push your channel to more people to see because you're consistent. Because you post regularly, people are commenting, you're getting those likes that also give your video a high rating and your overall channel. But if you stop posting for a bit, maybe like a month, then they can't help you push your channel forward because they see that, oh, maybe this is something that this person is not interested in anymore. So there's no point in pushing that channel forward if it's not going to keep growing. And remember that with them, YouTube is basically a website, so they need traffic. And if traffic is coming to your specific channel, and then all of a sudden it's not coming anymore because you're not posting, then they decide, okay, this is a dead channel, we're just going to leave it where it is. So consistency really, really helps. And also with possible investors, when people are looking at you, they say, okay, this person is consistent, so if we give them a project, they will deliver, they can handle it, and they will be able to, they'll give results. But if you're not consistent, then it's your branding, you're a little bit, they look at you and they think, oh, that person is not, they're still getting their things together, let's give them a bit more time.
Yeah.
So that's really important. Overall presentation is, with regards to your videos, if you don't have a design or logo yet, just start with a clean video, good lighting, you can use natural lighting, sit in front of the window, good sound, and you're good to go. You start where you're at, and you build as you go forward. So you find that some people, when they first started, they don't have an intro song, and they don't have an intro song and the animations and everything, but over time, then they have like a little presentation that comes in like, oh, whose channel, and we talk about this and that, and they have all these graphics. So you just start where you're at, and as you build, as you grow, you will add the other things. But the most important thing is to start.
Start, yeah. So if you plan on having a website, you obviously have to consider the presentation as well, how it looks like. So if you're gonna have a website, rather don't upload the videos on the website itself. Have a hyperlink that links your YouTube videos to your website. Because now your website is on its own, the YouTube channel is also on its own, but have them interlink where if you are going to, like for example, work with a client, instead of sending them the YouTube channel, send them the website that has all your information, like what you are about, what you believe in, and all this stuff. Additional information you can't add onto YouTube. So yeah, that's one of the stuff. And now we're gonna touch more into, before we go into digital marketing, I just wanna mention, because I've been asked this question a lot of times, which is how does one make money from those YouTube videos like everybody else receives? That process of like, from depending on the amount of views that you have, you get a certain amount of payment from YouTube. Unfortunately, that doesn't work in Namibia, because YouTube works with PayPal, And with PayPal, you can't receive payments. You can only do payments. So you can, a great technique that people use is they work with outside parties. Like for example, if I'm working with someone from South Africa who handles the payments, and then I create the content in Namibia, and then the payments, the guy would just send it to me. But that's the only ways you can do it so far right now. Namibia is we're still behind. So
Honestly, it's because yeah, but I think in general it's also because that it's like South Africa, for example, they have a lot of YouTubers and those people are active. So if they find that a specific region of people are active, then it's easy to activate that monetization, because then they know that nobody's just not gonna stop. Like it's not just active for now, it's active for a long period of time. So it's easy to add money there because you know that it's gonna keep growing. So that's why consistency is important. I see a lot of Namibian YouTubers who have like 3 videos and that's it. That doesn't work, guys. Help us to help each other so that we can get this money. We need this monetization because you can make a lot of money. At least like think of conversion rate. You make money in US dollars. Convert it this side. That's a lot of money for us. So really consistency is really important. Just start and then you grow as time goes.
Can I add something? I think when it comes to YouTube channels as well, if I could be wrong, but I think some people also make that by adverts. Yeah, they make their money through adverts or something. If they allow, I think if you have a reachable amount of viewers, you can approach a corporate company and you can show them this. Because that's the same thing that a group of students or a group of filmmakers, they recently had like was it a TV series? Yeah,
what?
on YouTube, a Namibian local series about being a musician or something. I just forgot.
I only know about Keeping Up with the Michaels, Planet Michaels, the one that
but-
plays on One Africa.
So no, it was like on YouTube. They like hosted their episodes on YouTube. So their main aim was basically, we're gonna have this here on YouTube as a pilot run. So depending on how many viewers we have, if it's a bit of a success, we go to companies and we pitch that, and that's how you suck them in. So I think that's another way you should look at. You should look at maybe with your content, with which companies does it align to, and then the companies might come in and support you, and hopefully you can make money.
But the baseline now to get monetized anywhere in the world is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, which is a lot of hours, like a lot. So if you get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, then you can activate. You can just move to SA and then activate the monetization. But yeah, that's the basis of it. But there are smart ways, of just creating specific content for different companies and making money out of that and showing them that, okay, I'm a YouTuber, I talk about hair, so you're a hair company, let me market your products, and you just make money out of that. And also just as a content creator as well, you can always refer back to your page and say, I create content for myself, I can come in and create content for you guys as a freelancer or whatever. So it's also a great way, like a show reel or portfolio, if you will. So it's really up to you.
Subcontract with companies too. Subcontract with companies.
Is there any questions?
I just wanted to find out how
So-
can you
The mic.
intertwine
Just put on the recorder.
Facebook, Instagram with all of this?
Sorry, just repeat the question.
Can you intertwine Facebook and Instagram with YouTube? Can you?
You mean like for example, if you upload something, then it uploads on all of the other platforms. So there are platforms such as Buffer. I'm just not sure if it works for YouTube, but Buffer is a platform where if you upload something, it can add it to your Twitter, to your Instagram, to your Facebook, and all the other, like LinkedIn, for example.
So what a lot of YouTubers do is if for example you upload every Friday, so then on Wednesday and Thursday you have like short trailers of your video and you upload it to your different social media platforms to tell people, okay guys, I'm gonna upload a video about this on Friday. So, and also just writing writing copy about what you're talking about or what your video is about. Just using all your social medias to promote and to push people to your YouTube. Whatever ways that you think you can do that, then you just do that. So with Buffer is a scheduling app, program or website. You just schedule all your things. You can schedule like 1,000 posts.
Yeah, so you can
all platforms.
So you can have like a 3-month content strategy.
Yeah.
And then you spend 1 day just uploading for the next 3 months, so you don't have to handle that for the next 3 months. So that's a easy way to do it.
I think YouTube also has something now called Premiere, where you can tell people what time the video was. Yeah.
I mean, it's really just understanding how the platform works.
Yeah.
So just like, because Facebook, especially Facebook, Facebook and LinkedIn, they are really about teaching people how to use their platform. So just like study the platform, know how it works, know how you can incorporate your stuff with the platform. Like what she mentioned with Premiere, that's mostly for YouTube. So it's mostly for YouTube and Facebook, and you then get to decide now, okay, I have this on my canvas. Like before you put everything on canvas, put it on the table. Put all your paintings on the table before you start painting. So just study everything and see how you can incorporate it with your work. Before we continue to digital marketing, is there another question that anyone wants to know? Okay. So now we'll move to digital marketing. These are marketing tools and techniques that we usually use. We don't use Pinterest yet, but it's a nice platform to get onto, especially if you're gonna do a vlog where you also do photography, for example. Let's use a tea enthusiast who travels around to taste the best teas around. You then take pictures of the tea and put it on Pinterest, because Pinterest is already good with what do they call it? SEO, is it? Search engine optimization. SEO. So their search engine optimization is already like up to standard. So just jump on the bandwagon. So even like, for example, if you are a tea enthusiast and I search for tea, like tea in Namibia, for example, and you use the keywords tea and Namibia, so the findings will mostly find it on Pinterest, for example, but now the pictures that they see on Pinterest are your pictures. So that's how you can get people to come to your platform. So that's one of the techniques that you can use Pinterest for, because Pinterest is really picture-based and stats-based. Buffer, that's what we explained earlier, where you can schedule your posts, so you don't have to be uploading your content every day and stuff like that. You can also just schedule your posts on Facebook. So like there's this other technique that we use where we can upload a whole album in 1 day. This is what we do for Kino now. We upload all the pictures in one album in 1 day, and we would then open the picture, click on where the link is, right? When you open the picture, there's usually a link there. So you copy that link, and then you go to schedule your post, and then you paste that link there, and then you can have it scheduled or have it shared on whichever day you want to share it. So that's another technique that you can use to schedule posts that you already have on your social media page. But if stuff such as like adding new content, then you have to do it the manual way of like uploading and scheduling when to post it. Bitly is a nice platform for two things. You can shorten your links and you can customize your links. I'm not sure if you guys seen like the type of links that we added. I'm sure they are different because some people copied from the link that it opened from, but our link for a jumper freelancing and the jumper workshop that we created, we customized it and called it jumper workshop or jumper freelancing. But we did that now with Bitly, which helps you customize your link and have it customized in your words instead of just having like random numbers popping up. And imagine now having a whole long link. So use Bitly to shorten the link and customize it in whichever content. And then the nice thing about Bitly is it tracks how many people opened the link. So you don't have to waste your time. Like if you're doing a survey, for example, and you want to see how many people open your platforms the most. Like, for example, you're comparing your YouTube to Facebook. You're comparing people opening your link on Facebook and people opening your link on WhatsApp. So you would send the same link. You'll create 2 links basically. Let's say, for example, Jumper Workshop Facebook. That's how you customize it. And then the other one says Jumper Workshop WhatsApp. So you would then have the 2 links. You share them where you can. You share them on the platforms, and it then counts how many people open the link on Facebook and how many people open on WhatsApp. So if you see that there's a big comparison, like a big difference from WhatsApp to Facebook, why waste your energy on Facebook? Focus where the people are mostly engaging it. So it helps you to track where your customers are and where they're opening your stuff. Scheduling on Instagram is also just the same as Facebook. A platform to use that is Buffer. Buffer works with Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Is it everything? Basically everything, yeah. Play only. Plan only is something that Comfort is quite.
So Planoli is mainly for Instagram, and what's cool about it is you basically design your whole timeline before you actually post. So for like people who want to have a certain aesthetic and you want your pictures to look a certain way, you arrange them. You can do that on Planoli, and it will post them according to how you have arranged them. So, but you have to pay for it. So.
One platform I would like to add is that it's a new. I think it's one of the fastest rising apps that they use for marketing as well. But right, it's not yet. I don't think it's popular in Namibia, but it's definitely popular in other countries. It's called Vero or something. So it's just for pictures. So what happens in other countries is that that's where people pick their photographers from. So if you're into photography, just keep an eye on that app. Because once it grows, it becomes popular, that's where people will come get their photographers from. Because it's basically an app designed just for photographers to showcase their work.
Okay. I think there's. Oh, wow. Damn. Okay, so since we're still. Oh, it's actually. We're supposed to finish at 3, but can we finish at 2?
No, it's fine. It's perfect.
All right. So now, yeah, we can just freestyle and add more things that we wanted to add but couldn't add. So before we start with the questions, let me just finish off with the like more stuff that we think you guys can use. So there's another platform called Asana. Asana is for project management now. Like if you're working with a big crowd or a lot of people, it helps you keep track of where everyone is and what everyone is doing. There are a lot of project management platforms around, but I haven't tried them out yet. I only tried out Asana. It works well. And Google Calendars are also there. Try out Google Calendars. And one of the things that we need to start doing is moving digital. You know, like the digital way is now the way to go, because yeah, man, like this Google Drive, this presentation that we're having now is on Drive. The way me and Comfort put this together was like we were working remotely. Like I was at my house, she was at her house, and we were just having a telephonic conversation and changing everything. So when this is changing, Comfort can see it changing. So it makes work so much easier instead of meeting up and those are long stories. So yeah, like start using these type of platforms to make your work convenient. The digital world, guys. You have a question?
I actually want to ask Comfort.
Yes.
So, if you want a YouTube blog, like I guess, vlog on YouTube,
Yeah.
what do you think is a good length of time for your videos? Because I find when I watch videos, sometimes even if it's really interesting, after a certain mark, I don't care what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm moving on to the next time. So is there like a sweet spot? Like, is it 5 minutes? Is it 8 minutes? Or isn't there?
Okay, so honestly, it's up to you. A famous YouTuber that I love, David Dobrik, all his videos are under 4 minutes, 30 seconds. And for him, it's just the idea of people can't concentrate after 5 minutes. Like, most people tune out. But you do find that depending on who's talking and how you feel about that person and the subject, like, sometimes I will sit there for an hour and watch somebody talk for an hour and watch them go about their life. It's really, I can't say there's a specific number, but it's really up to you. But if you think that this is something you wouldn't watch for 30 minutes, then don't do it. Yeah. It's also up to you. Think about your audience and see if you're thinking about yourself. I wouldn't watch a video of myself for 30 minutes, so I can't put it on video. But if you have something, if you know that video or what it is that you're doing that day is worth it, then definitely do it. I always say, try to give value throughout the video. Even if it's entertaining, let's do something. Let's not watch somebody walk from here to there just because we're watching from here. Let them do something. Is there something on the way? Are they going to jump? Are they being attacked? What's going on? Like, just try to keep it entertaining and do it for yourself. So if you think you wouldn't watch a video for an hour, don't do it.
Yeah. Like, just to add to what Comfort said, I think a great technique to do is also, like I mentioned earlier, understanding the platform. Like, for example, WhatsApp. WhatsApp is just 30 seconds, right? So what you can do is create like a 4-minute video. Let's use 2 minutes. And then when you're talking in your 2-minute video, you break down the section or the topic points into 30 seconds. But you're still compiling it in a 4-minute video. But then when you go slice the snippets, you have 30 seconds of this, and then you direct them to the full version, or you just upload the 30-second snippets from the 2 minutes. So that's a technique that we use when we uploading stuff. So, like, look at the time minutes and attention span as well. Consider the attention span. Like she mentioned, 3 to 4 minutes. That's enough time. But yeah, like, that's a nice technique to use as well. Like, instead of just creating 2 minutes and only uploading it on YouTube, but can't upload everything on WhatsApp, break it down into social snippets and have it that way. So yeah. Yeah, since we are done with everything, let's see what else we can. What else we can? Oh, well, let's hear it. Let's actually get an insight of what you guys want to do. Like, why did you guys come here? What?
I got what I came for.
Oh, nice.
I don't know, it's just, maybe it's my personality. I'm one of those people, like, I have a lot of ideas, but execution is very hard for me.
Welcome to my room.
So I can sell ideas to anybody, but the moment it has to, like, okay, now you need to actually sit down and do this. How do you do that? Because, like, I want to create a channel. Firstly, I don't even know what the channel is going to be about, right? And then secondly is, how do I make sure that I'm executing it properly? You know what I mean? I'm not just putting a video to just say I'm being consistent. Like, how do I execute it in such a way that it's of good quality with the things that I have? Because I mean, I can't go out and buy like 10,000 grand, like 10 grand camera today. So, like, execution, basically. How do I do that?
So for me, I totally understand what you're saying, girl. I think that you just have to decide. Okay, one thing is write all your ideas down. Write everything down. As it comes to your mind, just put it down on paper so that when it's time to execute, you know, okay, this is what I want to execute. And then secondly, if for now you don't have a specific overall thing that you're working with, then maybe break it down into seasons. Just like we have seasons like with series and stuff. Maybe this, you say, for the next 3 months, I'm going to do videos about yoga and, and then for the next 3 months, I'm going to do videos about mental health. I think that also just gives you like a proper flow so that you're kind of random, but at the same time you have structure even in your randomness. So that you know, okay, from after I'm done with this, I'm going to the next one and I'm going to the next one. So if people come to your channel, they know, okay, here's your playlist about yoga, here's your playlist about music, here's your playlist about meditation, and they can just go with that. Because it's hard as an individual to say I'm only about one thing, because we have so many interests, we have so many things that we hear about, that we talk about, that we're passionate about. So maybe break it down. I would say break it down into seasons and just say, for this time, I'm going to be doing this, and then I'll move on to that. And even if you have an idea for the other thing that you already spoke about, you can always come back and add it to that playlist. So also take advantage of the platform and how to use that, because a lot of channels also just use their playlist, and you will find so many different videos on that channel. But if you go to their playlist, then you have a structure like, okay, I'm starting from here, and this is 1 to the end, A to Z of this topic, and A to Z of the next topic. So that can also help.